Stay away from me, you scavengers.
Blimey, who's he? That's Father Christmas.
A plague on Father Christmas.
You ever have one of those moments where you flip through old Christmas movies and suddenly a version of A Christmas Carol appears that you swear you've never seen before? But then one tiny scene, one shadow, one voice, one frame hits you like a snowball to the face, and you think, wait, did I actually watch this as a kid? Well, brace yourself, because there are Christmas Carol films so forgotten, so strange, and so buried in old holiday memories that you won't believe they were real. And the wildest one, it's hiding near the end of this list. Scrooged, 1935, Seymour Hicks.
You have a wife and family to support, I understand.
Yes, sir.
Most people don't realize the very first sound version of A Christmas Carol appeared way back in 1935.
None of your mumbling, none of your mumbling.
And you almost forget it exists until those ghostly black and white frames show up again. Seymour Hicks had already played Scrooge on stage more than 2,000 times, and you can feel that theatrical confidence, sharp gestures, booming delivery, and a transformation that cuts through the worn-out film stock. The surviving prints look like someone rescued them from a half-collapsed attic trunk, but that eerie texture actually gives it more charm. Marley never appears on screen. The Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come is basically a cluster of shadows, and yet the emotion still lands.
A Merry Christmas! God bless you!
Once you revisit this version, you suddenly notice how many later adaptations quietly borrowed from it.
Merry Christmas to you. I hope you succeeded yesterday. Mr. Scrooge. Yes, that's my name.
A Christmas Carol, 1938, Reginald Owen.
He's mean and grasping. He's hard-hearted and tight-fisted.
Here's the version you forgot you grew up with. MGM's 1938 Christmas Carol is shiny, cheerful, and feels like a warm Hollywood snow globe, yet it quietly slipped out of circulation once the 1951 classic took over television. Reginald Owen gives a wonderfully cranky, almost cartoon-like Scrooge at the beginning, and his shift into kindness is genuinely touching. But the odd details jump out once you rewatch.
Marley.
Bob Cratchit looks surprisingly well-fed for a man earning pennies, Tiny Tim seems healthier than Scrooge himself, and the Ghost of Christmas Past resembles a glamorous studio ingenue rather than a spirit. Still, this version is pure comfort. For families in the 1940s through the 1960s, this was the Christmas Eve tradition, and seeing it again brings all that warmth rushing back.
First, I'll admit, but finally he'll overwhelm your heart.
Scrooge, 1951, Alistair Sim.
Is he Mr. Scrooge or Mr. Marley?
This is the version many people think they remember clearly, until they watch it again and realize how much they forgot. Alistair Sim's performance in Scrooge is still considered one of the most human, unsettling, and emotionally layered takes on the character. The film is visually dark, almost shadow-soaked, which makes the emotional moments brighter by contrast. Sim brings a mix of bitterness, fear, dry humor, and genuine joy that later actors quietly echoed, and the quiet scenes hit the hardest. Bob Cratchit's quiet dignity, Scrooge's private guilt, and the haunting visitations that never feel theatrical. This was a staple for generations throughout the 1950s and 1960s, yet many people forget just how powerful it is until they watch a single clip, then it all comes rushing back.
It's poetic justice.
Scrooge, 1970, Albert Finney.
Hate people.
Albert Finney's 1970 musical is one of those adaptations you swear you've never seen until a song suddenly unlocks a childhood memory. This version is big, lively, and filled with original musical numbers that feel straight out of a classic stage show. Finney plays both young and old Scrooge, and his hunched, high-energy performance somehow balances comedy, cruelty, and sorrow all at once. The Fezziwig scenes burst with joy, the thank you very much number is unforgettable, and the surreal trip to the underworld is something kids never forget, even if they think they did. For many families who grew up watching television musicals in the 1970s and 1980s, this was the Christmas musical. Once you revisit it, all the tunes come back instantly. Scrooged, 1988, Bill Murray.
taking a bus to work, you know. Oh, hi, fellas. Thanks a lot, and Merry Christmas.
Every generation has its modern Scrooge, and for people who grew up in the 1980s, Bill Murray was the snarky, cynical king of Christmas misery. Scrooged reimagines the Dickens story through the lens of corporate greed, holiday burnout, and chaotic humor.
Censor, and I will not allow this costume on the air.
Why not?
Well, specifically, you can see her nipples.
I want to see her nipple.
Murray plays Frank Cross, a television executive whose heart is colder than the New York snow, and yet his redemption somehow feels authentic and emotional. The ghosts are weird, wild, and unforgettable, especially the violently cheerful Ghost of Christmas Present. Many viewers forgot this movie existed until a single clip of Murray shouting into a live camera jogs the memory. Once you see it again, you remember why this became a cult favorite. It is sharp, funny, surprisingly touching, and very 1988 in the best way. The Muppet Christmas Carol, 1992, Michael Caine.
I've been very thankful for the things that they've done.
Absolutely,
yes,
absolutely.
People forget that when this film first released, it wasn't treated as the beloved masterpiece it eventually became.
I beg your pardon?
But once you revisit the Muppet Christmas Carol, everything snaps back. The warmth, the music, and Michael Caine acting with absolute sincerity opposite felt puppets as if he were performing Shakespeare.
Humbug.
Caine insisted on playing Scrooge completely straight, and that choice anchors the entire film emotionally. The songs carry real heart.
And I get to sing a couple of songs in it I've never sung before in my life.
The humor never undercuts the message, and the redemption scene feels surprisingly authentic.
And action.
For many kids in the 1990s, this was their first introduction to Dickens, and then it quietly faded from rotation for a few years. But when adults rediscover it now, they realize it might be one of the most faithful, heartfelt versions ever made.
Sort of tried to set up a world where anything goes, where the Muppets are comfortable in it, and Michael Caine is comfortable.
I play the part of Charles Dickens. I'm glad you asked that, because this is the first serious role that I've ever had.
The Flintstones, A Christmas Carol, 1994.
Marbley was dead to begin with. Scrooge knew he was dead? Of course he did.
This animated retelling places the entire story inside bedrock, with Fred Flintstone taking on the role of Scrooge in a community Christmas play that quickly becomes all too real. Released in 1994, it blended the prehistoric slapstick of the Flintstones with sincere Dickensian emotion. Many kids watched this during 90s holiday marathons, then never saw it again as newer animated specials took over. The character designs, the Stone Age props, and the warm Hanna-Barbera color palette give the film an unmistakable nostalgic feel. And Fred's gradual transformation somewhere between comedy and genuine heart lands surprisingly well. Once you revisit it, you remember the costumes, the catchy musical cues, and that classic Flintstones charm that made this forgotten retelling such a childhood favorite. And that's the thing about A Christmas Carol. Some versions become classics, and others get buried in the back of our memories like old ornaments in a dusty attic. But the second you see a clip or hear a single line, it all comes rushing back: the music, the glow, the feeling of Christmas Eve when everything felt possible. So tell me in the comments, which forgotten version suddenly unlocked a memory for you? Because half the magic of these films isn't just watching them. It's remembering the person you were the last time you did. Merry Christmas, and God bless us, everyone. A Christmas Carol, 2009. Jim Carrey.
Show me shadows of the things that have not happened but will happen. Is that so, Spirit?
When people think of this film, they always remember the wild motion capture animation, but they forget just how visually ambitious this 2009 retelling truly was. Jim Carrey doesn't just play Scrooge, he plays multiple ghosts, shifting his voice and expressions in ways traditional live action never could. The film uses every advantage of early CGI. Swooping flights through Victorian London, surreal dreamscapes, and haunting scenes that feel like moving storybook illustrations. Some viewers found it too dark or too intense for younger audiences, but once you revisit it, you remember how bold it was for its time. It captures the spirit of Dickens while pushing the visuals into near fantastical territory. This is one of those versions you forget you liked, until a single frame instantly brings it back. A Christmas Carol 2019, Guy Pearce.
And straight away you want to snip an extra hour off the day. 3 becomes 4, 4 becomes 3.
I don't care for your revolutionary mathematics.
This is the version people absolutely remember once they see a screenshot because it is easily the darkest, most psychologically intense adaptation ever filmed. Guy Pearce plays Scrooge not as a grumpy miser, but as a deeply damaged, morally corroded man shaped by trauma and cruelty. This 2019 miniseries dives into themes that previous versions avoided entirely, turning Dickens' story into something closer to a bleak character study. Some fans admired its boldness, others felt it drifted too far from the Christmas spirit. But once you revisit it, you remember how striking its visuals were, how heavy its emotional beats felt, and how much discussion it sparked. This is not a cozy holiday watch, but it is unforgettable once seen. Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol, 1962.
Have you visited this dwelling before?
No. I'm certain that I haven't. Never knew.
I thought as much.
This charming animated musical was once a December tradition for an entire generation, yet many people forget it was the very first animated Christmas TV special ever made. Mr. Magoo stars as Scrooge in a playful show-within-a-show setup, mixing Broadway-style songs with vintage 60s humor. The animation feels warm and nostalgic, and the music, especially Ringle Ringle, sticks in your memory long after the credits roll. Kids in the 1960s and 1970s watched this every year until newer specials pushed it off the airwaves. But the moment you see Mr. Magoo wandering into the spotlight, or that eerie ghost of Christmas yet to come, everything comes rushing back. It is one of those forgotten gems that instantly unlocks childhood Christmas memories. A Christmas Carol, 1971, Richard Williams and Alastair Sim.
A Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to the old man, whatever he is. He wouldn't take it from me, but may he have it nevertheless.
This haunting animated short might be the most artistically striking version ever created, yet many people barely remember it exists. Directed by animation legend Richard Williams, this 1971 film brings Dickens' London to life, with shadowed streets, flickering candlelight, and dramatic, sketch-like visuals inspired by classic Victorian illustrations. Alastair Sim returns to voice Scrooge, decades after his iconic 1951 performance, and his voice gives the entire film a chilling authenticity. It won an Academy Award, was praised by critics, and then strangely vanished from mainstream holiday rotation. But once you revisit the moody atmosphere, the ghostly imagery, and Sim's unforgettable delivery, you instantly remember why this short is considered one of the most faithful and unsettling Christmas Carol adaptations ever made. Mickey's Christmas Carol, 1983.
Merry Christmas! And a Merry Christmas to you, Master Fred!
This might be the fastest retelling of Dickens ever made, and yet it somehow captures every emotional beat in under half an hour. Mickey's Christmas Carol was many kids' first introduction to the story during the 1980s and early 1990s, especially through VHS tapes and holiday TV blocks. Scrooge McDuck plays Ebenezer with perfect grumpy charm. Mickey brings heartfelt warmth as Bob Cratchit, and Goofy's ghostly slapstick as Marley sticks in your memory forever. The animation is classic Disney warm colors, soft lines, and that nostalgic glow only early 80s animation had. Over time, newer specials overshadowed it, and some viewers forgot it even existed. But the moment you see Scrooge's top hat or hear that gentle score, all those childhood Christmas Eve memories come rushing back. A Christmas Carol 1997 animated musical, Tim Curry.
Ah, chalk, dust, and wood smoke.
Here's one you completely forget until you see a single frame of it. The late 90s animated musical starring Tim Curry. His deep, theatrical voice gives Scrooge a dramatic weight you don't expect from a direct-to-video release. The film mixes traditional animation with bright, almost storybook-like backgrounds, and the musical numbers, though often overlooked, carry surprising heart. Many viewers watched this on VHS during the late 1990s, but haven't thought about it in decades. The ghosts are colorful and slightly eccentric, the tone is lighter, and the character designs feel wonderfully retro. It may not be the most famous adaptation, but once you revisit it, you instantly remember Curry's rich performance and the nostalgic charm packed into every scene. It is a forgotten holiday comfort watch waiting to be rediscovered. Christmas Carol the movie, 2001, Callow, Winslet, and Cage.
Out of my way!
horses and dogs and children and street salesmen. I like this confounded snow. If it won't melt.
This unusual 2001 animated film mixes celebrity voices, romance subplots, and stylized visuals into a version that feels unlike any other Christmas Carol. Simon Callow voices Scrooge, with Kate Winslet and Nicolas Cage in supporting roles, an unexpected combination that many people don't remember at all. The animation style leans toward painterly, almost watercolor textures, giving London a dreamlike look. The film adds new scenes, shifts character dynamics, and even includes an original song sung by Winslet, which quietly became a hit in several countries. Though it never became a holiday staple, once you see it again, the unique art style, the unusual casting, and the emotional tone, you suddenly remember watching it on cable or DVD in the early 2000s. A forgotten curiosity worth revisiting. Bah! Humduck! A Looney Tunes Christmas 2006.
Hey! Watch where you point that thing, you big palooka!
Daffy Duck as a modern Scrooge feels so obvious, yet so many people completely forgot this special existed. Released in 2006, this Looney Tunes retelling places Daffy as a greedy store manager who treats his workers terribly, making the Dickens connection instantly clear. The humor is pure Looney Tunes energy. Fast gags, cartoon chaos, and slapstick timing that echoes the Golden Age shorts. Bugs Bunny appears as a surprisingly calm Christmas spirit, Porky Pig shines as the timid Bob Cratchit figure, and the entire cast delivers a nostalgic mix of comedy and warmth. This special aired briefly on TV, then faded away, overshadowed by newer holiday content. But once you see a single screenshot Daffy in his giant store or Bugs in ghostly attire, you remember exactly how fun it was. Barbie in A Christmas Carol, 2008.
I hate Christmas! I see.
This is the version many adults forgot existed until they see a screenshot and suddenly remember watching it with their kids or younger siblings. Barbie in A Christmas Carol takes surprising creative risks, swapping Scrooge for a Victorian-era diva named Eden Starling and focusing heavily on themes of forgiveness and second chances. The animation has that soft, pastel look of late 2000s Barbie films, and the emotional beats are more sincere than people expect. It avoids the darker Dickens elements, but the message still lands beautifully. This was a holiday favorite for younger viewers in the late 2000s, then quietly vanished from TV schedules. Once you revisit it, the music, the costumes, and Eden's redemption arc all come rushing back. It is a forgotten comfort film with unexpected heart. A Christmas Carol, 1982, Burbank Films, Australia.
You dance very well. That's the spirit. You don't have to sing for your supper here, but you must surely dance for your...
This is the version that lived on classroom televisions, bargain bin VHS tapes, and quiet Saturday morning cable blocks. The 1982 Burbank Films Australia adaptation is simple, straightforward, and surprisingly faithful. The animation is modest, but the mood is warm, and the pacing is gentle enough for younger viewers to understand Dickens' story without being overwhelmed. Many kids in the 1980s and 1990s watched this without even realizing it until they see the character designs again, and suddenly the memories hit like a wave. The ghosts are stylized, the Victorian streets feel cozy, and the entire film has that unmistakable early 80s charm. It is one of those forgotten versions that isn't flashy or unusual, but once you see it again, you remember exactly where in childhood you saw it. An American Christmas Carol, 1979. Henry Winkler.
Oh, success is a wonderful feeling. People can smell it. They sense it. Especially when you're on the move. On the rise.
This Depression-era reinterpretation is one people forget even exists until you see Henry Winkler under the old age makeup and everything clicks. An American Christmas Carol moves the story from Victorian London to 1930s New England, giving the tale a uniquely American hardship backdrop. Winkler plays Benedict Slade, a heartless loan officer whose coldness reflects the economic despair of the era. The film swaps Dickensian fog for snowy small-town streets and leans heavily into themes of community support during difficult times. Many viewers saw this once during a holiday TV marathon in the late 70s or early 80s and never revisited it. But the moment you see Winkler's transformation or hear the emotional closing scenes, you remember how surprisingly powerful this version truly is. A Christmas Carol, 1984, George C. Scott. For a long stretch of the 1980s and 1990s, this was the Christmas Carol on television, yet many people forget it completely until they stumble across a clip. George C. Scott brings a stern, commanding presence to Scrooge, grounding the entire film with dramatic weight. Shot on location with richly detailed sets, this 1984 adaptation feels colder, harsher, and more realistic than most versions. Scott plays Scrooge as a deeply practical man, not cartoonishly cruel, but emotionally closed off, which makes his eventual transformation even more striking. This film aired constantly for years before fading from rotation. But once you see that intense expression on Scott's face, hear his gravelly voice, or watch the haunting Christmas future scenes, you remember exactly why so many consider this one of the finest interpretations ever made. Miss Scrooge, 1997.
Oh, I'm sorry I'm late, Miss Scrooge.
I hear your bus had a dental appointment. Huh?
This made-for-television retelling flips the classic tale on its head by casting Cicely Tyson as a female Ebenezer named Ebenita Scrooge. Released in 1997, this version aired quietly on holiday programming blocks and then faded from memory, yet it delivers one of the most grounded and heartfelt reinterpretations of the character. Tyson brings a stern, emotionally locked performance that feels painfully real, shaped by a lifetime of disappointment and survival. The modern setting, office environments, and urban backdrop give the story a fresh, late 90s energy. Many viewers watched this once, maybe twice, during Christmas marathons and never saw it again. But the moment you revisit Tyson's transformation or her emotional breakdown, you remember how powerful and surprisingly moving this forgotten adaptation truly is. A Christmas Carol, 1999, Patrick Stewart. Patrick Stewart's 1999 interpretation is the adaptation people forget until they see a single frame of him staring out from that dimly lit Victorian room. Based heavily on the one-man stage performance he had refined for years, Stewart brings an intense, almost Shakespearean weight to Scrooge. This version removes flashy gimmicks and leans into Dickens's original tone, cold, disciplined, and deeply psychological. The ghosts feel more grounded, the pacing more literary, and Scrooge's emotional thaw feels genuinely earned. The film aired frequently in the early 2000s before slipping into obscurity. But when viewers revisit it now, they instantly recall Stewart's voice trembling during Scrooge's transformation, the stark, candlelit scenes, and the quiet, almost reverent atmosphere. It is a forgotten gem with remarkable acting depth. Ross Kemp's A Christmas Carol, 1999.
Could I have a quick word, please, Mr. Scrooge?
No.
This gritty, United Kingdom reinterpretation of the story is one of those versions people barely believe existed. Released in 1999, it recast Scrooge as a tough loan shark living on a bleak housing estate, a modern, rough, almost crime drama twist. Ross Kemp, known for hard-edged roles, brings an intensity that feels worlds away from traditional Victorian storytelling. Instead of foggy London streets, we get fluorescent hallways, cramped flats, and the emotional weight of everyday urban struggle. The ghosts are portrayed with surprising restraint, grounding the supernatural elements in psychological realism. This was broadcast only a handful of times and then vanished. But once you revisit the gritty tone, the confrontational dialogue, and Kemp's unexpected vulnerability, you remember why this version left such a strange, unforgettable impression. Blackadder's Christmas Carol, 1988.
It's a bit of a tiddler, ain't it? Yes, but size isn't important, my friend.
This comedic inversion of Dickens aired in 1988 and remains one of the funniest, most clever twists on the classic story, yet many people forget it entirely until they see Rowan Atkinson in that Victorian costume. Instead of Scrooge learning to become kind, this retelling flips the moral upside down. Blackadder begins overly generous and painfully sweet, only to discover through ghostly visions that being kind gets him nowhere. The result? He becomes gloriously selfish. Packed with classic British humor, sharp dialogue, and cameos from beloved Blackadder cast members, This parody works both as satire and as a surprisingly sharp commentary on human nature. It is rarely re-aired today, but the moment you watch a single scene, every joke and character instantly comes flooding back. Rich Little's Christmas Carol.
Good morning, Mr. Scrooge.
Bad morning, bad morning, bad morning.
Here is one of the strangest adaptations ever produced. A full retelling where comedian Rich Little plays every single character as a different celebrity impersonation. First broadcast in the 1970s, this special blends Dickens with rapid-fire impressions of well-known actors and entertainers of that era. The result is chaotic, silly, and completely unlike any other version. Scrooge as W. C. Fields. Marley as Richard Nixon. Every scene is an unpredictable surprise. It was a novelty even when it aired, then practically disappeared from holiday schedules. But once you see any clip, the costumes, the impressions, the over-the-top delivery, you instantly remember how bizarre and strangely charming it was. It is a forgotten comedic relic from a time when celebrity impersonation ruled television variety specials. So tell me in the comments, which forgotten version suddenly unlocked a memory for you? Because half the magic of these films isn't just watching them. It's remembering the person you were the last time you did. Merry Christmas, and God bless us, everyone.